So have any of you ever had the opportunity to run a book club with teens?
I have not.
Nope.
Have you?
I have.
Oh, nice.
Yes, but I've homeschooled my children, so it was like a low pressure homeschooling.
I got you.
Talking about books with teens, which is a totally different. Well, I don't know. I feel like the library should be pretty low pressure too, because it's not like there's a grade for interacting.
Right.
Unless you're at school, a school librarian. I'm not. I'm a public librarian.
Same.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Seth, I think you were in my class maybe last semester.
Yeah.
Live in Acton?
I did. I just moved out of Acton,
really?
But I live in Berlin now. I'm only
Okay.
like 20 minutes away. But
I just started at the Acton library like a month and a half ago or so.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
I'm the head of patron services.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. It's been fun.
So what does that entail for you? I'm curious because they have so many different ways to label different positions based on what the library needs.
Right. So the patron services is like the circulation desk.
Okay.
Checking books in, checking in holds, sending books out, dealing with like interlibrary loans.
Okay.
A bunch of different stuff. Yeah. I'm still like trying to encapsulate like everything that is part of our job down there. But
Right.
yeah.
So I'm curious, do you charge late fees?
You'll get a fine on your book if it like is past its due date, but if you bring it back, the fine goes away. Like years later, you could bring it back.
Yeah. Okay. I'm curious because throughout Rhode Island, there's different policies for different libraries that actually follow through on that and don't.
Yeah. The Minuteman, so we're part of Minuteman Library Network. It's like 40-something libraries, and none of them have fines or fees for the lateness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm your library neighbor because I work at the library in Littleton.
Oh, cool. Nice. That's Minuteman?
No, that's Merrimack Valley, so we get a lot of your returns that then is annoying, and I'm sure you get a bunch of ours too. So
yeah, we do. That's funny. Nice.
Where are you at, Julie?
I don't work in a library just yet. I work in a nursing home right now in the culinary department.
Wow.
I've been looking for jobs, but I figured at this point in my program, it's just best to stay there for now. It works with my schedule really well. But yeah.
I'm going to close this shade behind me.
Oh, I thought you had a question.
No, it's just really bright.
But I had to run a book club meeting with my friends for one of these courses, and I initially thought he was raising his hand because that's how we were trying to discuss everything, by raising our hands. We were talking over each other constantly.
So do we want to establish then our I guess rules of how we want to do this? Not that you can like break rules, but just kind of expectations of how we want to interact so that we don't have that issue? Like, do you want me to call on people as a facilitator and you signal that you want to be called on, or it's hard to not really have cues as much since we're not together in person?
Yeah, the one I did the other day, there was some like talking over each other when someone stopped, but like everyone was chill about it and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you go first." And so it wasn't like a problem, at least in that group.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm fine with whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone seems chill.
Yeah, that's fine. I think we keep it pretty informal.
All right, so I'd say, did everyone submit questions into the side? Seth, do you have any you want to add in?
I didn't put them in, but I have them. All right.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I feel like it cut them off. Oh well.
Do we want to start with questions like we're talking with teens or as librarians? Because I think we should spend like 30 minutes talking about like how we would talk about this with teens and then switch to discussing it as librarians.
Sure.
Or vice versa.
Yeah,
okay,
fine.
cool.
Yeah.
So then how about we start at the bottom with Seth's questions and then move up for covering everyone's questions for teens.
Great.
That sounds good.
So Seth asked, did anyone else do the audiobook?
I did not.
I did.
Yeah, so I mean,
you did it as an audiobook, Seth?
I did, and then afterwards I checked out a physical copy just to,
Yeah.
I mean, for the purpose of this conversation, so I'd have a reference and also to kind of see what I missed, because I missed a lot.
Yeah.
I'm honestly
Yeah.
surprised it's even like just an audiobook and not like pages with the audio, just because of how many pictures are attached to
Yeah,
this.
so the audiobook was weird because like it would read like every word was in there. Like it would start with like the quote at the top of the chapter, go through the thing, and then it would say like scientific name, common names, where it grows, symptoms of poisoning.
Oh,
And it
weird.
would say all that stuff like and like deadly details. Like it would put those at the end of the chapter. So I didn't know those were like intermixed in the middle of everything. I
Yeah.
thought they were just at the end of every chapter. And yeah, obviously I did not have like the illustrations and like the pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I love the illustrations.
So
They were-
contextually, that'd be weird.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I can't say I guess I recommend the audiobook because, I mean, unless like that's like something you physically need to do to read a book. Just because, yeah, I feel like I missed out, like on like 30% of the book, which now I caught up on since I got the book and I was flipping through it and looking at everything. But
Yeah.
first read/listen through, I missed quite a bit apparently.
How was the I guess voice actor or however the narrator?
Narration?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. That's what I'm looking
Yeah,
for.
she
How
was
was that?
fine.
Yeah.
I didn't have a qualm with her. Although one thing I'm now I didn't notice this. Did the book, it like addresses you a few times? Does it say like dear reader?
Dear reader, yes.
Because it said listener on the audiobook.
Mm.
Oh.
Like she did change it to that, and so
Huh.
I guess that's neat.
So one thing that's interesting is when I was reading it, I would often read chapters out loud to my family, and then I also was driving teens around because I have 2 teen sons, and they do a D&D campaign at the library. So as I was driving them home from this library experience, they weren't sure what to do with themselves. I was like, well, read this, like read about some of these crazy plants. And what was interesting to me is I think I noticed how much diversity was in the book because of like listening to them try to pronounce like names that they're like, how would I even say that? And they're all like trying to decipher how they would try to say some of these names from different parts of the world that they've never been exposed to before, of like the stories like the that are included throughout.
Yeah.
But then I also like the experience of them enjoying the book, reading it out loud to each other. Most of them weren't looking at and seeing all the pictures, but it was very much a shared like experience in that way. So when you said audiobook, was like, oh yeah, that'd be great. So I don't know how much for me I felt that like, I think definitely the pictures and the design of how all the information is portrayed is very appealing, but like I feel like so much of it's so interesting that it's not necessarily like a requirement for you to be able to get a lot out of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I still got, like every story, every fact, like as if like someone was just lecturing to me, like I was in a botany class or something, a more engaging botany class. But yeah, I would say, like, I've always wondered, like, I mean, this isn't teen, it's younger, but like, I know they have like audiobooks of like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and I don't know how that translates when half of that is cartoons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only miss is you're getting just word descriptions. You're not seeing what the plant actually looks like. So if you're reading this for that purpose along with the information, you're definitely going to miss out on that. Because I know growing up, I had a big book of local plants, local animals, and if I were to just hear an audiobook of that, but I didn't get to see what they actually looked like, I would be missing so much information. I'd take it with me everywhere, and I would try and find everything where I knew it would be found, and just feel like that would be missing for someone who's adventurous in that aspect, wanting to be outside, engaging with it.
But one of the trends we're noticing in our area is that teens prefer graphic novels over any other kind. That the majority of my son's classmates in the middle school all like only read graphic novels. And so I think that this was well done in almost presenting like as a partially graphic novel in presenting all of the material that is typically not as appealing to a lot of younger people, but makes it very appealing by breaking up so much like factual information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say like the audiobook, you get all the relevant stuff, but it's kind of just like a different experience if you're looking at the pictures along with it. Like, I mean, like you said, you got everything you needed out of it, but I don't know. I really, maybe I'm more in line with the young adult. I really like the pictures, and they kind of kept me engaged, like while reading through it. Some of the artwork was really nice. So, yeah.
Seb also asked, do you think this book was suitable for teens?
I don't see, I don't know. I didn't see any issue with it. Why did you think this could be co-opted?
Yeah, mostly just I could see like the book banning crowd being like, well, you can't give a how to poison your enemy guide to a kid. That's inappropriate. Like, that's like, I could easily, I mean, less has been banned than that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think my concern too would be the drug references.
Yeah.
And Sigmund Freud, as a psychology major, Sigmund Freud's, I don't know if I'd want my kids to know who he is at that age. But
yeah, there was, now that you mention it, there was a couple times they talked about like cocaine and is there something else in there?
And the Socrates used the poison hemlock
And
as his death sentence. And I think some of the names, like the alternative names or references for the plants, would be objectionable to some parents, because I know mandrake, like devil's testicle, was like the alternative name, and you also had what were some? So I just wrote down devil's breath for a henbane. That I could see people like being like, I don't want my children to read that. Although for me, I wouldn't mind any of my children reading this, but I don't object to books. I'm not like, I'm not afraid of them for my children.
Right. Didn't they, there's tobacco talk too. They weren't really like glamorizing any of it.
No.
Like in any way. So, but I think, those are good points that maybe.
Well, and I think it's good to consider that in ever making recommendations, is being aware of what maybe parents might be objectionable to be prepared to have conversations about it.
Yeah.
All right, Julie, your questions.
They're a little messy, I'm sorry.
Were what plant do you hope to see in the wild, and what do you hope to not see in the wild?
Any of the like glass shard plants?
Yeah.
No. Seeing those things.
Yep.
I do not look forward to death by fern plants. I was just like, what?
I was kind of thankful though.
That gimpy tree.
Yeah, that was
horrific. I was like, I knew that like there were the most poisonous like creatures in Australia, but then to also have plants trying to kill you there, like to this level, I was just like, I don't think I'm cut out for Australia.
Yeah.
I had the same conversation with my dad. I was reading a lot of these to him because I found it so fascinating. And I'm like, remind me to never visit Australia because now I can add plants on the list of reasons why I will not be there.
Yeah.
Minus the snakes and all the spiders. Now the plants are trying to kill me too.
Was there another Australian native plant in the book? I'm trying to remember now.
I think the Gimpy Gimpy was the only one specific.
Specific to Australia, yeah.
But I know the one
that's
that was...
enough, to be honest. But
yeah. But it was the one that's similar to it is the Manichil tree, which is also terrifying. Like acid rain from being under it, and if it's raining and drips on you, and
luckily, like, not a ton of these grow around. I mean, I'm assuming you guys are all New England, but maybe not.
Well, it's funny you say that because 3 days after I read this book, my dog came over and rested his face on my arm.
Boy.
And he had been in poison ivy. And my body flipped out. It grew up my arm, and I'm still recovering from it. But I understood it differently.
Isn't that literally the book gives an example of like your dog running up to you?
Yes,
doing that?
Like how animals are not affected, only humans are impacted by it.
Yeah.
And that it's a immune response, that you aren't actually allergic to it. It's just a strange immune response that some I think it's more than not human bodies respond to it because some are immune. Some humans are immune to it. So I am not. And it was horrible. So either. That's actually the one that I wish I could avoid because my body, it was over my birthday too. And it was like the worst day of it was on my birthday. I was just like, I don't like being in my body. Like, this is not good. So yes, poison apparently for me it was the poison oak, which is the one that's most common here. Poison ivy, poison oak. So before we move to the next question, I just wanted to ask if anybody else shared any of these. Because I know I did, and Julie's now expressed that she did because she found them so interesting.
I did not.
No.
Kept it to myself.
I think it was because I was around a lot of people while I was reading that I was like, you got to hear about this. This is crazy. Or I'd read about the next one and be like, oh my gosh, did you know that this existed? And I found it very, very fascinating. I don't typically like nonfiction informational books.
I think my favorite part of all of this was that I could connect it to a movie that I've seen a couple of times. The Mandrake shows up in a movie called Pan's Labyrinth, and I never really put two and two together on like the mythology in it until I read this book. And it actually got me even more excited to finish reading it because now I'm thinking, well, what else can I like connect within this book? And I feel like it just like goes to show you, I guess, you can find any connectivity in anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just found it really cool. I was staring at the picture like, why does this look so familiar? And then I realized, oh, Pan's Labyrinth.
What part of Pan's Labyrinth is it in? Sorry if you haven't seen it.
So
I watched it a long time ago.
She hides it underneath her mom's bed to try and like save her and her little brother during childbirth. She's having a rough pregnancy.
Okay, yeah.
The tall, I don't know what he's called, like the goat guy tells her to put it underneath her bed.
Yeah, okay. It's coming back to me. I watched that movie a long time ago. Also very visually stimulating.
Yes.
I feel like the cover is kind of like similar Pan's Labyrinthy vibes to it.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, Mandrake is like, I mean, it's in Harry Potter too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like that could be a good question for the author. What inspiration did you draw from for the style of your book?
That is a very good question.
So, Julie, your other question was, what historical story interested you the most?
I like the murder mystery parts to it. I liked reading how like some were solved, some were not solved. Like that story where they found the body in the basement, and to this day they still don't know how they got there.
That was such a surprise.
Yeah,
I thought they were just going to say it was actually the wife, and then it wasn't. Right. I was like, what?
I was actually very surprised about that one. And also, obviously, Sigmund Freud, just because of my degree. I thought that was really funny that she mentioned him.
Yes. But that I feel like that could also be another objectionable element to the book, is like some of these stories are quite gruesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard because the illustrations are almost middle school-esque, where like a teen might not want to pick it up just because like, oh, this looks like a picture book. But then once you read the stories, it's very young adult-esque in nature.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of those where does it lie type of books.
Yes. Which also makes it very versatile because you can you can have this for many age groups. But I feel like there's some context that a lot of kids would miss. But you were talking about like elements of it, that there was the poppy and the red poppy, and thinking about the Wizard of Oz and the field of poppies and how it put them to sleep. And so then you can tie it into a lot of things that kids have been exposed to as children that can sort of lighten it, make it less heavy.
Yeah, I feel like just sort of in general, I like the format of like each chapter starting with like a story to hook you. Because I feel like if it just went straight into like, here's science facts about a plant, that wouldn't hook most people. But like Julie said, like a murder mystery, like that gets your attention whether or not you're like a true crime fan or something. Like it's each chapter starts off with a bang.
That's a good way of putting it. It was also like, I'm going to call it formulaic in that each chapter kind of followed the same beat, but like not in a bad way. Like I kind of knew what to expect, but I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what the story about this one is and like how deadly it is and like what it does to you. So kind of like you knew what was coming, but it also kind of held your attention by having that formula. For me.
I feel like my preference, and I was surprised by this because I'm not typically one that cares much about the science of things, but I loved learning about the alkaloids and why the reaction is happening and what creates that and how that interacts, and like learning about I that's what I took the most notes on when I was like reading it, because I found it so interesting. And how does that tie to the other things that were like the next poisonous plant that came up? Although, can I tell you that I just about died during the explanation for the Salem witch trials, and that it was caused by that fungus in the rye bread, that I was like, fungus. Oh gosh, like, oh.
Fun fact, I also learned that a lot of the targets for the Salem witch trial were women who had property given to them, and they didn't like that women had property. Nice. So they targeted them so that the men can take back that land.
Nothing like some witch trial sexism, huh?
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Oh, man. All right. Anybody else have any comments on that one, or should we move to Travis's questions?
Yeah, I think the first two were the ones I was intending for teens. Accurate?
I think that looks like it would, yeah.
Yeah.
How would you apply what you learned about in this book to your real life?
I mean, I wouldn't put anything I found in the forest in my mouth. Like, not that I would have in the first place, but especially like the berry, like I don't remember which one it was. One of them had explicit thing like, oh, berries, like if they're bitter, like that they're poison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
just find them.
I think the Mackinac tree had like fruit on it too that
Yeah.
people ate. Yeah, there was a few of them that were like potential to like just see it and like eat it or touch it or something like that. Milkweed maybe was another one.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just generally more wary of plants
Mm.
than I was prior. Like
Yeah.
I had already been a little, and I think it was very instructive. Well, for me, because I thought there was just like one look for poison ivy,
Mhm.
and then like
Mm.
learning that it's different in different regions,
Mhm.
and that there's some 15 or 18 different types of poison ivy and how
Yeah.
it can look. That's like, oh,
And it's not always like leaves of 3, let it be. Like it
yes.
can be more.
Mhm.
My friend cut there was a root growing up a tree
That's
in
like
his
hairy.
yard, and
Yeah.
he cut it, and then he got like literally poison ivy over his entire body. It's like it was like out here. He's fine now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can look like anything.
Well, and sometimes people accidentally burn stuff, including poison ivy, and
Yeah.
we had friends who got it into their lungs.
Oh wow.
And I was like, I don't think I could imagine like
No,
a
that
more
sounds awful.
excruciating. Yeah.
I'd also be more wary about flowers, just because of how many of them flower. You know, they look pretty, but they can be quite dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Or how some of them, she pointed out to go check out like your nearest botanical garden where some of these poisonous plants are, and how some of them seem like they're nothing, right? Like
Yeah.
that they're very unassuming. So it's not like I wish it was more clear. Like these are the kind of dangerous plants to watch out for.
They should
but
advertise themselves better.
yes, but they don't. Yeah.
Where is the Botanical Gardens? There's one in Massachusetts.
There's one in Rhode Island by
the,
Roger Williams Zoo.
the one in
in that area.
Massachusetts, I think it's in like Shrewsbury.
Is it? Okay.
It's Tower Hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a museum pass for it. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about trying to go since reading this book, actually.
I feel like I'd be a lot more interested in going now and trying to find
I
the
was going to bring the
poisonous
book with
plant.
me, actually, and lead
Yeah.
through it.
And then your other question is, have you ever been afflicted by
Yeah.
any of the plants in the book? Which
I've
I've
had-
spoken to. Has anyone
Yeah.
else?
I've had poison ivy many times. It's awful. I
Yeah.
don't think anything else, though.
I had poison ivy as a kid. I can't. I don't remember having it since I was elementary school aged.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Well, I hope for your sake that is the end of
Yeah.
your exposure.
Or maybe I'm immune now and I keep
Or
running
maybe,
into it.
right. What about you, Julie? Have you had any exposure to any of these?
I don't believe I have. No.
Hmm.
I might have and just can't remember, but I don't think so.
Oh, I guess theoretically opium poppy because I like a poppy seed bagel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
good point.
tobacco because my dad smokes cigars,
Mm.
and I mean,
Oh, I think all of us have been exposed at some point to the peppers, the
Yeah.
habanero
Oh,
chili.
yeah.
Habanero, yeah.
I try to
don't like
avoid them.
spicy.
I can't handle them, but sometimes I
No.
suppose they sneak in there.
But when you say that, I don't think any of us are supposed to be trying to handle them
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
reading the book.
True.
I'm like, oh, that's your mouth going, you should not be eating this. This
Yeah.
is not good for you.
hmm
So I found that very interesting because I felt like that was, of all of the things that were on here, it felt the most like day-to-day relevant
Yeah.
of what people come across and how spice is pretty
Was it
integral to our society.
I think it was in the habanero section where it was like there was a part crossed off. It was like the hottest pepper in the world, and then it was
Yes.
crossed off and like updated. How did the audiobook handle that part?
Oh yeah, that was one of the more strange things looking at the physical book, because it did not have that crossed out part at all. Like it just said that by the time this book went to print,
okay.
Like yeah,
Ooh, I wonder if the audiobook was recorded before this went to publishing, so that they came out at the same time.
I don't know. I think the audiobook, I mean, I listened to it on Hoopla, so I don't. I think it said it came out in 2025, so I think it came out after the fact.
Yeah.
I definitely have cut like a jalapeno and then touched my eyes after. It's a bad idea. Yeah.
All I can say is at least it's not the Gimpy or
yeah. All the plants in the book, that's the best one to do that with. I guess.
Those two were the most terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Were those two trees.
Yeah.
Okay, my questions were, this book is full of factual information. What elements made it more interesting to read than a textbook?
I mean, I would say like, oh, you can go.
I was just gonna say definitely the photos.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, like along with like the stories that we already talked about, there was like weird humor in it, like that. I don't remember which one it was, but she talked about like it affecting like penises, and then she was like, "That's not a sentence I ever thought I would write."
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like little lines like that. Like I kept it loose even when the topic is not that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's like the personable. She made it personable, but like she was talking directly to you as you read it, versus just like try to remember all of this factual information.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That was pretty engaging. I also agree with Julie. The pictures and the artwork were great as well.
Not just the illustrations though, like she included real pictures and photos.
Yeah. I like that a lot as well.
I mean, I even like the little like leaves like that are like on like the bottom of the page. Like that just adds character to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very like intentionally formatted book. Sorry.
Did anybody else kind of feel a little bit overwhelmed by even like touching it as you were turning through? The more you learned about poisonous plants, and it's just like like they're everywhere. Or was that not a sensory experience for anyone else?
I
personally did not have that, but I can appreciate that feeling.
Well, yeah, I guess that's a question for me. Like, did anyone like read this in one sitting, or like did you find that a little too much and you're like, I gotta, even though it's a small and short book, like you needed to do it in bursts?
No, I think it was a few sittings for me.
Yeah, for me, I didn't feel like it was plausible because there was just so much information.
Yeah.
Not like my brain had to digest on it. So usually I would like finish, I think it took me 2 days of like reading it in piecemeal, but then I would go talk to immediately somebody about the latest thing that I read, or which one I found the most interesting about the ones that I had just read.
Yeah, I mean, because I was listening to it, so like I was doing it like partially when driving to and from work, so I could do like 2 or 3 chapters at a time, which would break it up. Or if I like went out for a walk, like it would be a couple more chapters. So like, I mean, it probably took me over the course of probably like 4 or 5 days listening to it, even though it wasn't long. But I feel like I couldn't just like sit there for an afternoon and listen to it in one go.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of the nature of it felt like you don't need to. It didn't feel like kind of a book where it would like grip you into like keep reading it. It's like you read a chapter and you're like, oh, I just learned about this plant, and then it's like there's no really carryover in between that you need to like keep plot points together or anything like that. So
yeah, I guess it's kind of, you didn't have to read it cover to cover if you were just like, oh, I want to check out chapter 10 because that one sounds more interesting. Like there was nothing stopping you wouldn't miss out on.
Well, I feel like this question, Seth, is a perfect like segue into our like librarian discussion of the book and how you would, because I think somebody asked about how would you use this book. Was that? I guess there was one that was asking how do you see this book fitting into a school curriculum, but also just generally, like, I think you asking about if anybody was able to read it through would be interesting to consider of, like, how would you best introduce this to a group of teens?
I mean, personally, I sat down and I finished it in 2 days because it did actually, like, fully, I was, like, very, I don't know, I really wanted to just finish it. It really, like, it captured me in just because of how interesting it was and being able to talk about it with someone and share it. So I don't know. If you're kind of talking about, like, the more reluctant readers, I guess. I don't know how you would.
Well, I think we're approaching it through an adult lens where our brains, I think, are more capable of taking on a heavier load of information, especially factual information. So I don't know if it would necessarily be reasonable to expect teens to be able to fly through it. So I feel like every teen could benefit from reading this book and would actually find themselves enjoying the experience of the book. Absolutely. But I think it would be based on how they were setting up different ways for them to experience it. Mm-hmm. So I think my suggestion would be to have a sort of book club for it, but have it be read about one plan a day leading up to it. Mm-hmm. So it's just like a piecemeal, like not overwhelming, and then you get to absorb and then talk about or consider on that one before moving on to the next. Because obviously my brain didn't hold on to every single one. There were the ones that stood out stronger to me in the 2 days that I read it, whereas I think probably teens would have a lot more to talk about if they had that pacing of it to slowly be able to, like, really appreciate it. But I'm sure there would be others that would just be like, oh, this is so interesting, and just fly through it. But I think it might be more palatable broken up.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So that question about, like, fitting it into a school curriculum, it might have been too specific of a question, but when I was thinking about it, I wrote it, so I was thinking about it. I was thinking, like, is there any way you could kind of, like, take people to botanical gardens with the book, or find, like, real life examples of these things and kind of, like, match them up in that way? I thought that would be a cool idea. I don't know how feasible that is, but, like, that's kind of why I said school curriculum, because I feel like you could do, like, a field trip to botanical gardens and everyone looks for the plants or something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even if it's not, like, strictly like you have the book and you're looking for them, something like a unit on plants, like a 2-week unit, and then, like, you do the field trip and maybe you have, like, a little scavenger hunt or something.
Yeah.
Of how many of the poisonous plants you find.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. When I think about my local school district, because again, I'm a public librarian, not a school librarian. Mm-hmm. I know that we have an agriculture club at the middle school, high school, because our middle school, high school is all in the same building in our town. And so both the high schoolers and the middle schoolers can be part of the agriculture club. But I think that this would be amazing to incorporate into an agriculture club and help expand exposure to kids of learning about things. So I would personally pitch this book to the teacher that runs the after school agriculture club to be like, hey, is there a way we can work together and do a book club or something with this with the kids to be able to engage them with the public library, like that kind of partnership idea.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
What about, how would you advertise this book to young readers?
I don't know. It feels like you need to find, like, I think targeting a agriculture club with this book is like the ideal way, because you already know they have like interest in plants and botany and whatever. I feel like, not that I'm not interested in botany, but I would never see this book and like pick it up personally. So I feel like if you have like the right demographic, it would be a lot easier to advertise it to them. I'm trying to think of how to.
So it's interesting to me because I would agree with you, but then I think, how much have I been missing because of how much I enjoyed this book?
Yeah, that's fair.
And then when I was filling out for my reading log and had to find like read-alikes, I was like, I wanted to read every single one that I picked for the read-alikes. That before I was like, this is like, I've never been huge into plants. Like, so it was surprising to me, but I was like, the titles I came across were so fascinating that I was like, I want to read more about this. It was like the lady poisoners of the 1900s and like the plants they used. And it was like, some of the titles were just so intriguing that I was like, how can I not want to read this? Like,
I think I might have put that one on mine too, actually. Was there? I think I saw one about like, it was like Abraham Lincoln or something like that.
Oh yeah,
and the poison that killed his mom.
Yeah. That's the one I was like, oh, what's that about?
Right, and I feel like there's so much that's so fascinating that I've missed. Like, I just, because of not having exposure. So that's where I think of like, how do you pitch this to encourage that exposure? Because you have to convince people, because a lot of it is your advertising, that people are missing out. They need to read this. And I would say this is a must read for teens, just because there's so much valuable information in general for them to understand the world, to understand and not be so stupid as a teen about, right? Like that there's truly dangers out there. Like,
yeah.
I think there's also like, even if you have teens that are just like, why would I want to read about plants? I think you could even go to it with like a different angle of like people who just kind of like that grim sort of darkness. Like I was reading this or listening to the book, and I was just kind of thinking of like Winona Ryder and Beetlejuice, like a teen like that sort of type. I was like, you can steer away from the plant side and focus on like the murdery darkness, witchcraft like aspects of it.
Yeah, it was pretty grim.
yes.
Not a lot of people made it out alive.
No.
But I found it so fascinating that I was talking to my friends about it, and their teen kids overheard it, and one asked me for the book, and I was like, sorry, you didn't for my class, I can't give it to you. But another one, I didn't even know her teen daughter was listening to me, went to the library and checked it out because of my enthusiasm for the book.
Yeah.
And then sharing some of the snippets that were just so interesting about the book.
Do you remember specifically like what kind of the content of the book you were like?
So I think the thing we talked about most with everyone was the Gimpy tree.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
they have these little glass hairs that are like hypodermic needle, and I like go into it, right? But I'm just like, and if you walk past it, it can get you. Like, yeah. And so that was the one that I was just like, how is this even real? Like, this feels like it should be on an alien planet. Like, it's wild to me. So
well, maybe that's how you would advertise it, is like take snippets of like an example like that, and I don't know, somehow advertise that with like posters or something where it's like,
and I think that that's helpful too, is you pick one of the ones I think that's like farther away.
Yeah.
Right, that's not to help with any of that blowback or objectionable, because there's a lot in here that's not objectionable. That's just really interesting information. Because I feel like, I'm sure this would be an awesome, National Geographic.
Yeah.
Like those like documentaries that they do, like about this whole book would be the most interesting documentary series of like.
Yeah.
I agree. I would watch that.
I would too. And maybe one will come out, and then that's a huge like, hey, read the book. Like, yeah.
I agree. And playing off of all of this, you know, you could totally pitch this for someone who loves weird things, oddities, curiosities. That's honestly why I chose this book. I love weird, creepy things, and it just appealed to me. So you could totally spin it to make somebody who might not want to learn, but who loves that stuff to want to pick this book up. Because it does have all those elements. And then they take something away from it at the same time.
The other suggestion I would have is that this is not a book that you would read in your science class or whatever. Like, emphasize, like, this is not the thing that shows up in your typical science class.
The book your science teacher doesn't want you to know about.
yes, right? Like the intrigue of just like the rebelliousness of it, of you get to know things. Yeah.
Did anyone look up this author and if she has other books that are like similar in nature or anything like that?
I did. She does not.
No.
You sound so disappointed.
I don't know if there was like an animal version or an insect version of it.
No, she's, if I'm remembering correctly, I think she was more like picture books for kids.
Yeah.
I might be thinking that wrong. I have her
that's
website on my LibGuide.
Yeah, that was, I looked into her a little bit too to see her other books. But it's possible she'll come out with more. Just, currently, she does not. So,
Where are we?
Your question, Julie, was what aspects of this book show up within Brock's 2019's chapter on informational books?
I assumed when you were talking about like book discussions with classmates that we were trying to be like discussion post type questions. So if we don't have enough time to answer that, that's more than okay. But
no, that's actually.
I can.
I feel like I looked it up and then I'm like, wait, I don't have it.
The chapter 6.
Oh yeah, there wasn't a lot for defining it. Beyond just that it's a hodgepodge of a lot of different categories.
It adds the elements of illustration with text.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it says like some books like have limited narrative relying on captions and sidebars to provide readers pertinent information. This one, I mean, it has narrative obviously, but like it does have a lot of those sidebars too, which probably help break it up a bit, like from just it being an info dump in prose, kind of.
Well, in the other informational books section, it's informational books may include human stories, but the emphasis is not on a single person, but on a topic, which is, I feel like, fits this book pretty well, or scientific finding or something.
But I think what's interesting is that the chapter called out that roughly half of the library book budget and half of the bookshelves are devoted to informational books.
Mm-hmm.
Which for me, I definitely feel like this book deserves a spot there. And that's why for me, I immediately made the recommendation to the circulation, the head of circulation, we should get this book for our library. This is amazing. Like, this is an amazing book.
Yeah, I mean, I can just, as my experience as a teen reader, like, I read way more nonfiction than I did fiction. Like, I mean, it wasn't like I was reading, like, biographies on, like, bands and musicians that I was into. Yeah. But, like, that was where I gravitated. So, like, I felt like the minority, like, of everyone I knew who did read outside of school. Like, most of them were, like, reading, like, the Hunger Games and the stuff of the time. Well, I was like, no, I'm reading this like 800-page biography on the Beatles over here. So I do think there is a niche for teens who would be into a nonfiction thing.
Yeah.
Well, I ran an after-school literacy program for elementary school students, and I was always surprised how many chose informational books of these like kindergarten through fifth graders. That I was just like, that would not be what I would choose. But when given that freedom of choice, there was a high percentage that would choose the nonfiction informational books. And it's not quite half of our library because we have so many picture books, but of like the junior reader books, once they're past, the picture and practice readers or whatever, I would say half of that is informational books in our library.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I watched someone on TikTok who is a middle school librarian, and she'll do like unboxings of all the books that her followers will send her. And every time, without fail, if she gets an informational book on animals, plants, anything, even people, she always says, "Thank you so much. This is going to be highly circulated." And it always shocks me to see that, because you would think it would be the more nonfiction, the more fiction side of things, but she always says thank you. Like, this will be so used and so loved. Like, it's fascinating what they gravitate towards lately.
Well, I think that's another interesting library discussion is I feel like it uses different parts of our brain to read the different books.
Yeah, for sure.
Because my brain doesn't engage in this kind of book like it would when I get lost in a fantasy novel. Yeah. Where I stop seeing words on the page and I'm like immersed and I'm like experiencing the book. Whereas for most of this, I was still very much like in my own body going, I'm glad I don't live there, and I'm glad that can't happen here, and oh my gosh, how did I not know about any of this for half my life? So I think that's an important note of that depending on preferences of kids, they're going to, like, the way they engage with books is going to be different. I have an 8-year-old son who is adopted and autistic and has 5 other diagnoses, lots of struggles. And I did not know that he preferred information books. That was something that was passed on from his teacher at school because that's nothing that he's shown us at home. But when he's at school, that's what he gravitates towards, and that's what he would just get lost in at school. So it's interesting because I think the different scenarios that children and teens find themselves in changes kind of what they feel comfortable exploring. That what parents may think their kids like may not be because they're still figuring it out. But again, I think that goes back to our need to help expose them to more than just that little pocket of they think this is all I like, I'm not willing to try anything else. Because my experience with teens is they very rarely like to go outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah,
yeah, same.
That's still me.
Yeah. And because of that, they limit then what they get to experience. And I think it's so sad where it's like there's so much more that you may end up loving that you just need to, like, if you knew about it being there and were willing to try, makes all the difference.
Great example. Oh, go ahead, Travis.
No, you go. I was going to change the subject a little bit. You go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Great example of that is in college, I took a bunch of English courses because I love reading, and I thought I hated poetry until one class dissected an entire book of poetry. And from then on, I realized, like, hey, I actually kind of enjoy poetry. I might not pick it up as often, but I wouldn't mind reading it because it's actually very fascinating and very beautiful. You just have to give them that exposure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone woke up from his nap. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask if this book, like, does it necessarily need to be like a young adult book?
What do you mean by that?
Like, I don't know. What makes it a young adult book, I guess, would be my question. Like the content,
I feel like it's the way it's written. Like I was saying before, like with like the lightness of like the humor and the voice of the author. 'Cause I feel like if this was an adult book per se, like it would be much drier, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, we're all adults and we enjoyed it.
But we knew we were reading a book for young adults.
I guess. Okay.
I think
That's a
I
good
was
point.
reading it, I would have thought like the author was being condescending to me.
Okay.
Oh,
Instead of trying to be conversational with a young reader. Like it felt like it was aiming for a younger reader.
Okay.
I think it would all have been in black and white, to be honest, and more text and more in depth than it was, because she could have gone a lot more scientifical,
For sure.
bigger words.
Yeah.
The people she talked about, she might have touched upon them and their background a little bit more, whereas like young adults, middle schoolers shouldn't know too much about some of what they've done, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, have you? I don't know. I've never read like any of like these sort of like YA nonfiction books, but the ones that are like adapted for young readers of like Becoming by Michelle Obama and stuff, where it just kind of essentially does that, from my understanding. Like it takes the core of the book and just sort of makes it not as massive.
But you want to say it dumbs it down, but
like I don't.
But it's not meant to be. Yeah, it's not meant to be like
dumbs it down, but like in a good way. Like not talk derogatory way. Yeah.
Yes, it simplifies it. I know I got the Ballerina of Auschwitz, which is the YA version of it that they took the original and simplified it. But I think it also often happens because there are things that are not appropriate or are age appropriate, where they just are not at an understanding of those specific things yet.
Yeah. You can only talk so much about drugs before it's becoming a little bit too adult.
Yeah.
Yes, and I feel like there would have been a lot more like modern references to things if it was speaking to adults, like connecting it to other hot topic issues, I guess, related to some of these drugs.
I mean, I feel like though even then, I think the book did a generally good job of like some like stories examples were from hundreds of years ago, and then some were from like 2022. Like,
yes,
I did like. I felt like it could get dry if everything was like hundreds of years old, but then
for sure.
Some of it's just like, yeah, this happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Did anyone reading the Castor Bean section think they were going to reference Breaking Bad, or was that just me?
I got through season, I think 3, and I had a hard time like after getting forward. So honestly, no, I didn't.
There was I think it's before season 3. He like makes poison from castor beans in it. Yeah. I think it might be season 1. I don't know. I also didn't finish the show. I stopped after season 4.
But moving forward, do you feel like you're going to recognize things in a new way if ever you're watching?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like any of these things in here, I'll definitely like. Oh, I
know about that. And I will say these are great information or like cocktail conversation starters right here.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good
really
point.
And truly, which is valuable as just. Well, that could be other. Hey, you want to have great conversation starters? Come join our book club of A Deathly Compendium of Poisonous Plants.
Like I could see it sitting on someone's coffee table, like as a coffee table book. Honestly, like you could pick it up, read one, and be like, "Holy crap, what the hell is this thing?" And then like talk about it with the people around you. Like that's kind of why I don't know that it necessarily needs to be classified as like a YA book.
Well, and even considering classifications, like what is the classification on your books?
Mine's got YA.
I know, but what did they put the other classifications for it?
581.
Yeah.
I bought my book.
Very cool.
Sorry, I like to
You were
collect
pumped
all my
for
books.
it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So mine was 6990 Nature Botany,
Oh.
which I
Mine-
thought was interesting because I think there are a lot of different places this could also be classified under in the library.
Yeah. Mine's
So-
581, so.
But
Yeah,
I think that speaks
yeah.
to the difficulty of classifying this book,
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
which is great for leaving it open for YA.
That's a good point.
Now, maybe that's even like something you could ask a teen, like, here are like different categories. Where would you put this book after
Right.
you've read it? Like, would you put it in botany or would you put it in whatever 581 is?
Yeah, what is 581?
Yeah.
I also wonder this is another, I think, interesting question of asking the author.
Mm.
Where would you classify your book? Like,
Yeah.
where would you think it should go?
Sydney, what did you say it was? 699?
It's 6990.
Huh. Because, well, according to the textbook, the 500s is sciences and then 600s is technology. So how would it be 699?
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm looking at it. And that's the part of like not all head of circulation in the libraries in Rhode Island have an MLIS degree and don't have training in doing the classification. So they're typically like the one at my library is not, but she's been doing it for 20 years. And so however she learned how to do it, she learned how to do under whoever trained her before they left. And so as things change and shift, like I don't know how much that then has followed for the library. And one of the things I've noticed as well is that a lot of the libraries in Rhode Island struggle to adapt to everything I've learned in library school. I'm like, did we learn the same things? Like, this is not what I've been learning about. And so I find that really interesting. And typically the libraries that I've come across in Rhode Island that they have a like very well-weathered seasoned staff are very inflexible and don't want to adjust or make changes. And so then like, but then most librarians in Rhode Island are underpaid as well. So you can only push so much and retain staff. So it's really interesting. I wish theory was easier to put into practice.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have thoroughly discussed the book.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did anybody have any last thoughts that they wanted to add?
I guess just quickly, how would you rate it out of 5?
5. I enjoyed it.
I'd give it a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
That feels like a very like non-committal answer.
It's either yes or no, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
fair.
read it. Yeah, I would recommend it.
I would recommend it too. I would rate it a 5.
Yeah, I'd give it like a 4.5 with a thumbs up.
And a note to not do the audiobook if you can avoid it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also it wasn't a dull audiobook, so
Yeah.
Yes.
wouldn't be a horrible death sentence to listen to it.
Do you think you would have been more satisfied with the audiobook if you didn't see the physical copy?
Like after the fact? Yeah, probably.
Yes.
'Cause I would have no idea that I missed anything.
Yeah. That's really interesting to consider, though. That it's in the comparison that you then made the rating. Because if you had to rate it based off of just that first exposure, pretend like you hadn't seen it, would it have had a higher rating from you?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
My
That's
apologies if you can hear voices in the background. My cat just turned my TV on.
Nice. That's impressive.
Yeah, he just stepped on the television remote and
He's